Hello and welcome to a new in-depth review as we will be taking a look at the beast of the Mesozoic 1/18th scale Stegosaurus Stenops. But before we take a closer look at this big Stegosaurus, I do want to first of all make a huge shout out to my subscribers. Very recently, this channel has just reached 100 subscriptions and I'm just beyond words that I have now a 3-digit amount of subscribers here on my YouTube channel, despite the fact that it's not even 1 year ago since I ever started creating contents here. The support that you guys have been giving to this channel means so much to me, and thank you all so much in getting me to reach 100 subscriptions here. This review is dedicated to you all. I hope you will enjoy it. Let's kick things off by taking a look at the packaging of this big Stegosaurus. And I was really not prepared of how huge this box really is, especially when I just got it delivered in front of my doorstep. And yet, despite of the size, my display spinning table still manages to hold this big box perfectly fine. So now let's take a closer look at the front packaging here. Here is the big Stegosaurus figure itself. Down below is the full name and the scale of this action figure, and the gorgeous paleoart here done by Gabriel Aguero. And here's the back side of this big package. We got some information and facts about the Stegosaurus. Below are some of the other available Beast of the Mesozoic figures, and a screenshot of the big Stego itself. And here's what the big action figure looks like, still in the clamshell, outside the box of course. One thing I'll say that's definitely very unique about this is that the whole figure is in one piece. Unlike with most Beast of the Mesozoic figures, in which it always comes with accessories and pieces, or the tail just detached and you just gotta apply in the water just to heat it up. Here's the backdrop from the box that I will be using for the rest of this review. And of course, we cannot forget about the trading card here that always comes with any BLTM figure. So here's the Stegosaurus in all of its glory. And it does have such an amazing presence here. Not only with the size, but also as well the amazing paintwork and the sculpt work that we will be going more into here in just a moment. I've been collecting Beast of the Mesozoic figures for like 5 years now, and never before have I ever bought or laid eyes upon on a figure this massive. I mean, when people walk into your room or collection display, they're gonna really notice this awesome figure right away. Although I do have one minor critique here that we will be discussing here in just a second, but aside from that critique and all, I'm just loving this figure so much. So let's take a look at some measurements of this big dinosaur. You're looking at 18.5 inches, close to 11 inches tall at the highest peak of the plate, and up to at least maybe 5 inches from each side of the hips. So yeah, this dinosaur is definitely such a beast. With that being said though, I will admit to say, I think this figure could have been a little bit smaller. As I said in the intro of this video, I did mention that this is a Stegosaurus Stenops. A couple years back, I did take a trip to the Mesozoic Museum in DC where I got to see a Stegosaurus Stenops skeleton. And while it is such an impressive size of an animal, it wasn't really like kaiju size. But more recently, though, I did take a trip to the Cargill Museum in Pittsburgh where I got to see another, but even bigger Stegosaurus specimen. However, this one is actually a Stegosaurus ungulatus. The biggest difference between the two species, other than size, is that ungulatus has a more different shape of plates on its back. So, if this BOTM Stegosaurus was an ungulatus with its different shaped plates, then the size here would definitely make more sense. But since this is a Stegosaurus Stenops, I think reducing the size here definitely would be a better fit to scale up with the rest of the BOTM figures. Maybe 10% at the very least. Although I will mention that the apex specimen at the American Museum of Natural History might be a Stegosaurus Stenops, but more research is going to be needed in order to be absolutely sure first. Now let's talk about my most personal favorite thing about this big Stegosaurus: the paintwork and its sculpt. That reddish brown covering mixed with the dark stripes and a very hint of lightish blue up front of the body just blends in so perfectly well with that sculpting work. In addition, there's also a silver light chrome covering on the under area of the neck that I find to be absolutely awesome. The vagomizers are antiquish white with a very hint of light blue on it. And those plates are just so very stunning to look at, as each of them are differently uniquely painted from one another. That turquoise green on each of the plates just make them all very striking to look at. Plus, the plates are also surprisingly translucent, as you can pretty much see in these pictures. Even though in real life a Stegosaurus plate would never be this translucent, I still find this feature to be a very fun bonus. And the sculpting work on this Stegosaurus is just absolutely fantastic. David Silva actually hand sculpted the original prototype of this Stegosaurus, which took him quite a long progress to get done. And when he was able to finish the sculpting on the original prototype and later on adding the paintwork, he and his team has created, in my opinion, the most definitive Stegosaurus in action figure form for many years to come. Now let's take a look at some of the articulation of this big Stegosaurus, starting with the head here. You can move the mouth this wide. You can move the head along side to side. The mid-neck side to side. And this part here is definitely pretty tricky, but you can definitely get that back of the neck side to side. Although it's pretty tight though as of now, since I got this out of the box. But once you do, of course, give it more heat work and more movement to play around with, it should definitely have more movability. For the front leg, you can definitely give it a 360 rotation. A bend in this joint. And here in the foot. And the torso Also, you can rotate upside down, just like that. Pretty unrealistic, but hey, this is an articulated figure after all. And here with the back leg, you have the same 360 rotation as with the front. The knee, nicely bent. And the feet, same kind of movement as you would do with the front too. And finally, let's take a look at the tail. As of now, this is pretty much good range movement. I can definitely give it for now. Kind of like this. Towards the left side. And as for the right, sort of like this for now. Although, again, once you give this big dinosaur more heat, you definitely can get a much more movement out of it. Although, I should warn you though, when playing this thing, definitely be seriously careful with the plates on this figure, because it's made out of different plastic material in comparison to the rest of the softer plastic, as you can see here. And they are pretty fragile to breaking, so definitely be careful on how you move this big boy. But despite the articulation on this Stegosaurus being very limited for now, I still managed to get some decent fun poses out of him, including managed to get this big dinosaur to stand on 2 legs. And lastly, let's do some size comparisons. To start off, we have Argentius and Dragonlina from the Cyberzoic series. They are in 1/18 scale, just as with this Stegosaurus. Next, we have the beast of the Mesozoic, Plesiosaurus, which for a while has been my largest beast of the Mesozoic figure within my collection. That is until now, with this Stegosaurus entering into the arena. Up next is the Hammond Collection Stegosaurus, as it appeared in the Lost World Jurassic Park. Definitely really cool to see the 2 differences of Stegosaurus between the movie fictional version and our updated knowledge to what this dinosaur really looked like. And finally, its main rival, the beast of the Mesozoic, Allosaurus vagilis. These 2 dinosaurs live in the same ecosystem from the Morrison Formation around 150 million years ago. These 2 would often square off against each other in many paleomedia descriptions, such as documentaries and in video games. And to finally have these 2 arch enemies in scientifically up-to-date action figure forms, I'm definitely going to be having so much fun taking pictures of these 2 fighting against each other. So overall, even though I still stand by with my critiques on this dinosaur being a bit overly big and all, I still freaking love this Stegosaurus a lot. The paintwork on this dinosaur alone is just makes it automatically stands within my top 5 favorite new Beast of Mesozoic figures that I now currently own. Plus, the sculpt work is just one of the absolute best that Create Beast Studios has so far created. Especially since in how David Silva, again, hand sculpted the original prototype of this Stegosaurus. And even though I'm also very aware of how some people has criticized the articulation on this Stegosaurus, but rest assured though, give it some few days along with some good hair drying treatment, this Stegosaurus will definitely be moving a lot smoother and better over time. The price tag on this dinosaur may be expensively high for most people, but with that being said though, if you can afford on buying this big Stegosaurus, it's definitely worth every penny. Especially since if Stegosaurus is your all-time favorite dinosaur. Definitely highly recommend it. And with that, we have come to the conclusion of this in-depth review. Once again, to my subscribers out there, thank you all so much into getting me that 100 sub number. Your support for this channel means the whole world to me. And this review is a special gift for all of you in return. If you enjoyed watching this review, give it a like if you wish. And if you want to keep up with any of my upcoming videos in the near future, subscribe to this channel if you like. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching this in-depth review. And until next time, have a good day.